Welcome to the online workshop on building climate resilient people and institutions in India's ephemeral river basin. I take this opportunity to welcome all the delegates and participants who are joining and who are joined here. A special welcome to all the speakers who are going to grace this occasion, grace this workshop with their valuable insights. To say a few words about DHAN Foundation, DHAN having more than 3 decades of work in the water sector. DHAN Foundation is working with more than 4.5 lakhs of small and marginal farming families to make them out of poverty by restoring subsurface water bodies. And we operate around 3 spheres. So one on environment and another on social inclusion and another on governance. Basically working on DHAN and community and sectoral perspectives. In fact, the degree of change as part of our water work is concerned, there are 6 major components are being ingrained. So one is the demand driven. So around 6,000 water users associations are formed at a grassroots level. So those are the kind of drives which makes the mission so stronger in making these missions so pervasive and which is being driven by the community alone. And the second one is ecosystem. Basically around the subsurface water bodies, the entire ecosystem, not only the flora and fauna, but also the biodiversity is being taken into consideration. And the third one is the grassroots primacy, wherein the community institutions takes the priority of building the small and marginal farming families with a holistic development approach by their own institutions and make them out of poverty. In fact, more than 1.5 lakhs of community members, the families have self-declared that they have come out of poverty. That is a classic way of how the people self-declare that they have come out of poverty. More importantly, the resilient lifestyle makes a very important significance in their degree of change as part of this theory of change is concerned, wherein making the community to get the adequate kind of comfort as well as the coping mechanisms to best fit with the climatic things, especially building the resilience part of it. Then equity and the evolutionary approach. So this way, the kind of degree of change of DHAN is being ingrained across all its mission. And we work with the different collaborators at state level, national level, and also at the international level with the different donors, including CSR partners, government institutions, and also academic institutions. So we take this opportunity to thank all the partners and then the co-creators who contribute a lot in making our mission so stronger for the past 3 decades. So once again, welcome all of you to this online workshop on building climate resilient people and institutions in India's ephemeral river basins. So in fact, we are working with 25 river basins and the community as well as the team from different parts of the basins, more than 500 to 600 people are joining from India. And we also expect the kind of delegates from Sweden, Stockholm. So now I would like to invite our Ms. Durvi Shah, the Executive Trustee and the CEO of Axis Bank Foundation. Axis Bank Foundation is traveling with us as a CSR for the past 1 decade. And in fact, we are working with more than 1 lakh families in one of the very important, prominent river basin in Tamil Nadu called Pambar River Basin, and wherein we had a range of co-creative journey in building resilient at the last mile. So now I invite Ms. Durvi Shah Madam, Executive Trustee and CEO of Axis Bank Foundation, to share her insights on co-creative partnership journey in building climate resilient community. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. I think it's an honor to speak at the World Water Week, sitting here in Bombay, and I represent Axis Bank Foundation. Like mentioned, we've been partners with DHAN since 2012. It's more than a decade of partnership, and there are many learnings we've had. We've co-created the program that we have and built over time. Just kind of taking a minute to speak about what we do at the foundation. So the foundation was set up by Axis Bank in 2006 for its philanthropy. Over time, as a bank, we realized that economic inclusion resides on the back of successful or stable livelihoods. So since 2011, we've been supporting livelihoods in rural India, and livelihoods in rural India has to start or be based or built on water. And not just India, water is a critical matter globally. And I think platforms like World Water Week, are are a great opportunity to bring multi-country experience together, and it does year on year, helping us to all learn from each other. Because I feel that water as an issue is faced by communities across the globe, and there is huge potential to learn from each other and adopt what is working well in one country, and also to avoid mistakes that we've made over a long period of time. So, like I said, all of our work on livelihood is based on water specifically. It becomes a cornerstone. And water is not just then about saving it or conserving, it is also about usage. It is also about community stewardship. It is not only about one season, 1 year, one generation, but it's also about water management for the next season, water management for the years to come, and for the generations to come. Now, it is a complex problem. It is a local problem, but it's also a global problem, and hence connecting various kind of stakeholders who have to come together, whether it's the community, whether it's the government, whether it's private sources. Uh, it is important to collaborate at every level. So a more strong foundational foundation with the community can become a good starting point or the base to build on it. Um, Over the years, wherever we've worked, enabling access to water is not that difficult, as it is difficult to manage the governance around it, as it is to manage institutions around it, to make it a common good in the village, to help the communities take decisions which are good for all of them collectively and not just for few families who have better access. Um, so a lot of our partnerships, especially the one with DHAN, has reflected very strongly on what are the key processes that one can have, what is the time it will take, and one has to be extremely patient. What is the kind of ecosystem work that is required? And I think enabling access to water and creating governance are, I think, two most important elements of enabling livelihood. And also, when I say livelihood, I mean it automatically also means adopting a resilient or creating resilience for the changing climate, um, because the dry and the wet spells are changing very, very fast, and it is important to have secured access to water. um, on all of this, I think one of our biggest learning has been that long term security can happen if you work at the landscape level. So, working at a river basin level, I think that's very, very important. We've been working at the Palmar sub basin for now, I think, 12 years, and in a cascading manner. And I think the results have evolved over time, have told us that it's that approach of a scientific method to follow where the water goes, flows, and to engage communities has been crucial in not only enabling access today, but to create ownership in the community, and to also look at the demand downstream, and to manage the upstream downstream demand management. So the multi-tier community structures that have been developed by the Han, I think they are a brilliant way of learning, and I hope we are able to share this learning across various countries, across various regions. And is there a way we can look at mainstreaming this approach throughout the country? I think there's huge potential and need in our own country to be able to do that. Uh, and it's the community's own declaration of how they have come out of poverty serves as a great milestone that we all aspire to have across the country. uh, while we always talk of water in terms of short term impact, yes, the agriculture productivity goes up, I'm able to deal with climate better today, I'm able to diversify livelihood, migration stops. But I think the key success lies in the community's ownership, reviving of traditional knowledge, combining it with scientific practices, and institutionalizing some of the newer methods in the community so that it's practiced over generation. I think that's the most difficult part of uh, the work that is to be done, which takes time, which takes building trust with the community, which takes a lot of experimenting with the community, and having developed those processes over time. uh, I think uh, I think those become sort of key enablers to ensure sustainability, because saving water today is not enough. It is ensuring that saving water and having water management practices, having demand management practices, choosing which crops to do. I think all of these questions become equally important as enabling access to water. So, partnerships between the communities, partnerships with the local government, partnerships with private players, and all of this, it can be made possible when you have communities that come together, when you have all actors who come together. It's not an easy job to do. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's multiple kind of negotiations where you have to sometimes take a loss today for better continuity in the future. But who's better than the community themselves to do these negotiations? So enabling communities to do these negotiations, both for themselves, within themselves, and with external actors, I think that becomes a very, very important part for this multi-stakeholder partnership. And until we are able to do that, while we will have anecdotal evidence of developing climate resilience with access to water, but for it to continue over a long period of time, it is the governance and institutionalization of these practices that is going to make the difference. Wherever these practices are better, the sustainability and the longevity is much, much higher. Where it is only about access to water, it over time fails to deliver, because if you have wrong cropping practices, over time it does not help. Now, I mean, we work across, I think, 20 states in the country. Most of these are rain-fed areas, and we have a great comparative between one region to the other region. And what shines out is the sustainability is very critically linked to partnerships and community stewardships. So wherever we are able to build strong community institutions around water, around managing water, I think sustainability uh, is much better. The ability to take decisions towards any kind of weather vagaries is much better, and therefore livelihoods are better. I think for this group, the people who are going to speak after me, I think a lot of them have been part of these processes, and it'll be good to hear their perspective from how they see this coming up. This is my perspective as a funder, as a committed funder, I would say, in this. And we do aspire to scale this up across the regions where we work, and in the time that comes ahead. So over to you, and look forward to hearing from all the other stakeholders who are going to talk after me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. Very insightful speech. And you very well spoke about the connectivity between the water and livelihoods as a cornerstone. And as you rightly said, the long-term security can happen only at only through the community institutions when they operate at basin levels. So many proven proposals have come, and you also highlighted and recalled your journey for more than 2 decades with different partners, especially in setting the community with resilient and then coping mechanisms. Thank you so much, madam. We got a very good learning experience. And now we are moving to the next presenter, Resilience Center for Water and Climate Action, footprints with the farming community. So in fact, the people mutuals within the mutual collective of DHAN Foundation, and they are running a Resilience Center at the grassroots level, which has created a lot of impact at the community level, especially for the small and marginal farmers in addressing the risk and vulnerabilities in different models. And through the agro advisory centers, a lot of changes is happening at the grassroots level, especially with the farming community. So now I invite Ms. Ashkila Devi, Chief Executive, People Mutuals, and Mr. B. Buttukumarasamy, Program Leader, DHAN Foundation, to speak about their experience in having these resilient centers footprints with the farming community. Over to Akhila and Buttukumarasamy.
Thank you, sir, and good morning and good afternoon to all. It's a great privilege to share our experience with you. Next slide, please. So here, first I will share about the DHAN's development perspectives on building resilience. So DHAN's overarching goal is poverty eradication. So in that, the risk management and resilience building plays a major role. So in our DHAN perspective, one of the major USP is ecosystem as a primary unit in building resilience, because we are working in rural, urban, tribal, and coastal. In each ecosystem, the building resilience, it requires tailor-made solutions. Second one is the social capital. Social capital as a base in building resilience. So then it would be sustainable and with long-standing. And third one is graduated enabling processes, building the communities better towards resilience. That means we are involving the community from end-to-end solution providing, from the product designing to the end-use verification. Fourth one is the holistic security measures, saves the community from risk and vulnerability. So we are working on not only, for example, in case of People Mutual, not only we are buying and selling insurance, we are connecting with comprehensive risk management. It starts from risk avoidance, risk reduction, risk prevention, risk mitigation, and risk transfer. So this holistic security measures only ensures the resilience building. So if you see the practices, one is the poverty eradication through agriculture development, since we are working with small and marginal farmers. So we understand the risk in agriculture mainly due to water and climate change, and we start our resilience building on effective water management and agriculture development. So here our ICT as the backbone to trigger the resilience building, especially with crop and livestock insurance as one of the climate adaptation technology. Next. So if we see the comprehensive approach to risk management, there are two approaches. One is financial and non-financial. For example, in case of climate risk adaptation, as a financial method, enrolling farmers in crop and livestock insurance plays a major role. In non-financial, we are doing many things. One is the climate risk prevention, mainly on conducting awareness and advisory programs to educate farmers and risk mitigation. And second one is we are connecting with the departments mainly on functional agriculture risk management related with organizing farm field schools and veterinary camps to prevent the losses. And third one is we are sharing the knowledges. One of our core values is recognizing the local wisdom. So we have identified our the resource farmers to progressive farmers to share their best practices and facilitate insurance enrollment. So in our system, the co-learning mechanism plays a major role in knowledge sharing. Third. Next, please. So if you see the structure, so the structure and staff and system is very much important. So People Mutual is the central unit mainly to provide social security measures to address the various risk and vulnerabilities at the district level, at the state, province level. And Federation Mutual act as a block level unit in which we have created the resilient centers. So People Mutual is one of the vertical of DHAN Foundation, which ensures the social security measures for all the downtrodden people. So here we have created the separate structure called mutual federations, mainly with farmers and women farmers. So these mutual federations mainly created and manages the climate risk resilience center. So far we have created nearly 100 plus centers in 6 states of India. So in that, insurance enrollment is one of the climate risk adaptation strategies, because the climate risk, the resilience building that requires that is a mixture of financial products. So here insurance plays a major role. So in that, our ICT, the digital tools as a backbone that creates mainly the agro advisory and livestock advisory to the farmers. So now I invite my colleague Muthukumar Sami to share more about the Climate Resilience Center activities.
Next. Yeah, basically, what is the lifeline of agriculture, wherein the climate change affects either in the way of flood or in the way of drought. So, due to the climate change, unpredictable weather and season, and it ultimately leads to the loss of crop. Next slide. So it is one of the global agenda. It's not on only on the farmers' perspective, but it is one of the global agenda. It can impact on the different SDGs. Next. Yeah, the purpose of these resilience centers is one side black. Yeah, the purpose of the resilience center is to build the resilience of the farmers and effective management system, and also in the climate smart agriculture. Ultimately, it increases the productivity and income and contribute towards reducing global warming. Next. So 113 centers have been established across India in 16 states. Next. Yeah, there are some climate actions. What we are, building the resilience of the community. Farming community on water and agriculture is like I just list 6 major activities. One on soil and water conservation, and second is on forestation, and third is on rainwater harvesting. Whereas in soil and water conservation, we're talking about this check dam construction and mulching. And in the second part, like agroforestry systems, and we enable the farmers on grassland development. And in the way of rainwater harvesting, we are enabling the farmers to establish the farm ponds and the roof water harvesting structures in villages like that. Next. Another three important factors is on wetland and stream restoration, where we are talking about the renovation of water tanks and also wetland protection, like biodiversity acts on carbon sinks. In the sustainable agricultural practices, we are encouraging the farmers to go for sprinkler and drip irrigation, and to encourage the farmers on trout and resilient crop like small millets and organic farming. And the climate smart livelihoods, fisheries in farm ponds, not only establishing the farm pond, but also encouraging the farmers to go for fisheries, inland fisheries, and beekeeping and ecotourism. Of course, livestock is also one of the climate smart livelihood activity is being encouraged among the farmers as a climate action. Next. So we classify this activity, whatever the activities are sharing in the different category like prevention, adaptation, mitigation. Even in this, after this mitigation also, if the loss exists, then the mutual incidents, like what Aguila said about their meeting out the given the compensation for the incidents, crop and livestock incidents. Next. So ICT as a backbone tool, we organize the farmers in WhatsApp group, and we are organizing webinars. So it is more effective to reach out more farmers. We also organize a virtual farm field school, where the resource farmers are organizing the farm field school, and we have our own YouTube channel with 300 plus videos on agriculture, and we also organize online courses for farmers to build the resilience. And ultimately, the farmers' entitlement is the core of more than 7,000 plus farmers' entitlement has been facilitated in the past 2 years through the Resilience Center. Next. See, this is the ultimate outcome, and justification for the outcome. Like the major activity, what we are related with the water and climate action is silt application, or the core activity, wherein 432 farmers have been encouraged. Out of this activity, the outcome is like about 129.6 metric tons of carbon has been stored. And similarly, 40% increase in water holding capacity. Similarly, farm pond, mulching, SRI method, drip irrigation, and small millets, different activities have been encouraged, and the farmers are following that. Practice change has been absorbed. And the third column is talking about outcomes, what we could able to envisage in this last 2 years. Just justify the how we calculate this outcome of this towards the climate change. Next. So the last slide, it talks about the basic thing is, as we mentioned earlier, SHGs and farmers group is a strong social capital builds. This is the core. Whereas we have a customized mutual insurance and livestock crop and livestock insurance, and technology as a backbone is set the base. Next. The three things are getting imposed on that. One is linkages and leverages with the government and other departments for entitlement. And we could able to see the practice changes among the farmers, and effective management, water management towards the climate change is being observed. So this is what the outcome we could able to from the resilience center in the last 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Aguila Devi and Muthu Kumarasamy. Very comprehensively, both of you spoke about the footprints of resilience centers in addressing poverty and making them climate resilient community at the grassroots. Obviously, recognizing the wisdom and the native wisdom of the community, it contributes for the resilience. The small millets experiences, what you said is very valid on that. And in fact, the outcome as well as output slide was very impressive, which spoke about the kind of journey which you had at last mile, and building the community with necessary coping mechanisms on the resilient part. So thanks once again to Aguila Devi and Muthu Kumarasamy. Now we are moving to the next speaker. Miss Annette Hotmaker, co-founder, Ibiza and Luxembourg, and she is the person like is traveling with DHAN Foundation for more than 2 decades, and she's the person who is heading DHAN International at Netherlands, and she's the advisor and the motivator and the kind of the person who is always giving us the thought of how to take the social security to the next level, having the last mile connectivity. So now I invite Madam to speak about the global focus and a local action in building resilience. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting us to give a more, well, let's say, global focus on the work that you are doing, but that is so much, well, let's say, applicable to so many more locations than just India, although I do realize how vast India is. As I said, I work since 2004 with DHAN Foundation, but also with other entities throughout the world. And I learned that pandemics, political unrest, and climate change are causing major financial and social disruptions. And to treat those issues on, let's say, household level, but also holistic in terms of how we treat the risks and the risk management, is imperative to find integrated resilience with the people themselves. Next slide, please. So DHAN has strengthened, as they explained already, the systemic stability through resilience strategies and integrating all this, well, let's say, inclusive measures in terms of risk management, in terms of aid, in terms of livelihoods, in terms of insurances, in terms of advice, in terms of development goals. Everything creates one big holistic risk management and resilience approach. Next slide, please. And as you can see in the schedule that is on the left-hand side of this slide, you see that everything integrates, in fact, in itself. If you have a better income security, you will be less risk averse, you will be able to increase your agriculture production, you will be able to improve your food security, and because your health situation is better, you are able to work more and to create more solutions and better activities in your field. That's why also, as Muthu said, these risk resilience centers are so important. Education, development, economy, everything goes hand in hand and makes people resilient to shocks and be able to cope. Next slide. In DHAN, we started in 2004 with the simplest of insurances first, and then we graduated to the more complex products. And that is an approach that we learned over time is the best way to, well, let's say, make people understand what is insurance. Why does it cost money? Why do you have to keep on paying your premium? Why sometimes it doesn't pay and sometimes it does? Not every year, like in an savings account, there will be some sort of a return in the form of interest, but there will be a return in the forms of claims payout the moment that you need it the most. And if you build up these types of, well, let's say, complex insurances one after the other, from very simple to more complex, the people are able to grasp the concept of insurance and, well, achieve this financial stability. And the best thing that works is to create it in a bundle. So integrated risk management with insurance and, well, wrap it around something that will be tangible, like livestock insurance with veterinarian services, like crop insurance with the services that Muthu provides in the resilient centers for agriculture, like term life and annuities, life insurance with behavioral practices of, well, healthcare, health insurance, but also, well, treat people that have drink issues with alcohol, etc. So the things belong together in terms of approach in the daily livelihoods of the people, and as such, because they are integrated into each and every daily activity of people, it makes sense that they also try to protect themselves and maintain what they have and protect that by means of small premiums that are created in such a way, the products are created in such a way that they appeal to their needs, their demands, and their affordability. Next slide, please. The last years, let's say since 2019, we are focusing with Ibiza on parametric insurance for crops. And that can be either for too much rain, not enough rain, so causing drought. It can be for excess wind speed. It can be for typhoons. It can be for heat stress. It can be for all sorts of risks people face in their livelihoods. It's not only for individual people, but also, for instance, for their MFIs or their banks. And in any case, it's applicable for everyone. And it can be utilized in a very simple way, because you don't need ground operations to do the soil sampling or the payouts for the claims. Next one. And as was said, there is a global perspective to what I'm saying. This approach that DHAN has and that we have with DHAN is also applied to a lot more countries around the world, for a lot more risks and with a lot more insurance companies than just in India itself. And that is the perspective that I bring. If you integrate risk management, if you have a holistic approach of the issues that are causing climate, let's say, havoc on the people, try to get as close to their way of thinking and their way of finding solutions and their availability and affordability to pay for simple insurance products. And then it will lead to success and resilience of everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for your wonderful insights. In fact, we are very much thankful to Ibiza as giving us a lot of opportunity of thinking together and coming with a lot of products in social security. And we also convey a sincere gratitude to you for recalling your journey with DHAN Foundation, especially on the social security part, how the complex products have been simplified in operational modes in a way that the community in the last mile, they were able to appreciate and scale it up in a larger area. And you also connected very well with this kind of the social security, income security, and the kind of food security. So all are indispensable to each other, wherein this social security plays a major role in securing the community with risk and vulnerabilities. So it was a wonderful presentation, madam. We got a very good learning out of your slides as well as insights. Thank you so much, madam.
You're welcome.
And now I'm very happy to introduce Mr. V. Durairaj, President, Vailagam Mutual Movement. Vailagam Mutual Movement is a national level movement which has the fraternity of the small and marginal farming families together to work on their restoration of their subsurface water bodies. And he is representing 4.5 lakh families who are part of this Waters Association at the national level. And he is leading the Vailagam Mutual Movement. As a water aspirant, he is traveling with us for more than 2 decades. So like him, we have around 1 lakh leaders who are at the grassroots, who are playing a greater role in changing the kind of climate of the local level in terms of making the community to come out of their poverty through the water restoration projects and other things. So now I invite Mr. V. Durairaj to speak about the experiences of Vailagam Mutual Movement at national level, in relevance to how the small scale water bodies have been restored and what kind of coping mechanisms they brought in collectively and how it is getting scaled up to a larger extent, and we will also speak about the way forward for it. ஐயா நீங்க சொல்லுங்க.
அனைவருக்கும் மாலை வயலக வணக்கம். பருவநிலை மாற்றத்திற்கான செயல்பாடுகளை தான் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் சார்பாகவும் வயல இயக்கத்தின் சார்பாகவும் பேச வந்துள்ளேன். பழங்காலத்துல விவசாயிகள் என்ன செஞ்சிருக்காங்கன்னா, ஆற்று பாசனத்தை நம்பி விவசாயம் செய்து வந்தார்கள். அப்ப மழை அதிகமா அந்த காலத்துல அதிகமா பெய்யும். வருஷம் பூராமே மாசத்துக்கு 3 மழை பெஞ்சு நல்ல விவசாயங்கள் செழிப்பா வளரும். அதனால அந்த காலத்து விவசாயிகள் விதைகள் 6 மாச வித்து உள்ள விதைகளைத்தான் விதைத்து அந்த நெல் பயிர் இதுகள் அறுவடை செய்யறதுக்கு 6 மாசங்கள் ஆகும். அதனால அவர்களுடைய வாழ்க்கை தரம் அன்னைக்கு ஒரு சீராக அமைந்திருந்தது. இப்ப பருவநிலை மாற்றத்துக்கான வழிமுறைகளால இப்ப மழை சரியா பெய்யறது இல்லை. எப்போ ஒரு மழை பெய்யுது, அதுவும் பருவநிலை விட்டு அது எந்த காலத்திலேயே ஒரு காலத்துல மழை பெய்யுது, இல்லாட்ட வறட்சியா போயிருது. அதனால இப்ப இருக்கக்கூடிய விவசாயிகள் இந்த பருவநிலை மாற்றத்திற்கான காரணத்தினால் குறுகிய கால பயிர்களை விவசாயம் பண்ணுவதற்காக 90 நாட்களுக்குள் விளையக்கூடிய பயிர்களின் விதைகளை விதைத்து அவர்கள் இப்பொழுது விவசாயம் செய்து பயிரை விளைய வைத்து மகசூல் எடுத்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். நாம் தான் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் மூலம் மக்கள் ஒவ்வொரு கிராமத்திலும் வயலகம் என்ற குழுக்களை அமைத்து கண்மாய் சீரமைப்பு பணி, பண்ணைக்குட்டை, ஊரணி சீரமைப்பு பணி, கால்வாய் சீரமைப்பு பணி, இப்படி பணிகளை செய்வதன் மூலம் அந்த கண்மாயினுடைய கரைகளை உயர்த்தி தண்ணி மழை பெய்யும் பொழுது வரக்கூடிய தண்ணீர் நீரளவு கொள்ளளவு அதிகமாக தேக்கி அதனால விவசாயிகள் இப்பொழுது விவசாயம் செய்வதனால நெல் விளைச்சல் நல்ல முறையில விளைந்து மகசூல் அவங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கிறது. அந்த நீரை உயர்த்துவதற்காக சீரமைப்பு பணிகளை நாம் செய்து அதிகமான மகசூலை பெற்று வருகிறோம். இதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு உதாரணமாக இது ராமநாதபுரம் மாவட்டம் முதுகுளத்தூர் வட்டத்துல ஓரி வயல் என்ற பஞ்சாயத்துல 450 பண்ணை குட்டைகளை நம்ம தான் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் மூலம் வெட்டி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. அதனால அங்க இருக்க விவசாயிகள் மழை லேசா சின்ன மழையா பெஞ்சாலும் சரி, வெள்ளம் போகிற அளவுக்கு பெஞ்சாலும் சரி, அந்த பண்ணை குட்டைகள்ல தண்ணியை தேக்கி அவங்க அந்த விவசாயிகள் அனைவருமே நல்ல விளைச்சலை பெறுவதற்கான வழிமுறையை நம்ம செய்து கொடுத்திருக்கிறதுனால அந்த விவசாய மக்களுடைய வாழ்க்கை தரம் ஒரு நிலைக்கு உயர்ந்திருக்கிறது என்பதை தெரியப்படுத்தி என்னுடைய உரையை முடித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். வணக்கம், நன்றி.
I would like to translate in English for the benefit of all the delegates and participants. He just recalled how our forefathers were living. He was saying that in earlier days, the agriculture were purely dependent on a river and a perennial water source was available. And over a period of time, due to climate change, often the community is supposed to face the dry spell and drought. And the earlier days, they gone for a 6 months crop. And later on, because of the reduced rainfall, so they are supposed to go for short duration varieties within 3 months. When the rainfall comes and they can store water and they can go for agriculture, then they can get good yield. So that is what the kind of focus has been shifted. And he recalled the kind of journey of the Vailaga movement and how it is going on, through which he says that the traditional water bodies are getting restored, basically on desilting, through which the additional water storage is being created in the tank system. Because of siltation, almost most of the water bodies are silted and then gone down the level of original capacity. It's not able to store adequate water. So now, because of desilting, they could store additional water, and because of the restoration of the supply channel, the feeder channel, they could harvest water from the catchment area. So now they are able to store water in the traditional water bodies, which is sufficient for the small and marginal farming community to take up at least a single crop. When they restore their water bodies like tanks, they can get a single crop. He also recalled a mission which went in one of the watersheds, wherein 480 farm ponds have been constructed through a watershed program. Almost all the families have got a farm pond. So because of that, even dry spell happens or very limited rainfall comes, they're able to store water and they could get a minimum one crop, or otherwise entire crop failure will happen. Either they migrate or otherwise they get suffered. That was the earlier situation. Because of this massive mission of going for nearly 500 palm ponds, the entire village, entire watershed had become more prosperous. So now they are highly resilient in terms of facing this drought as well as dry spell. That is what he recalled. Finally, he said he was calling upon everybody to store water to make the small and marginal farming life more prosperous. நன்றிங்க ஐயா, சிறப்பாக சொன்னீங்க. So now I invite Mr. J. Mogan, Chief Operating Officer of DHAN Tank Foundation. DHAN Tank Foundation is one of the subsidiary of DHAN Foundation working on water collecting. And now he'll be facilitating the reflections and resolutions to expand the thematic actions what we are discussing about. Welcome, Mr. Mogan.
Thanks to Sivi for organizing this World Water Week online session. And so far we heard speech with the donors and practitioners and community. So many voices we received, and how we gained resilience and how we cope up with climate change effect. Like that, so many knowledge sharing was happened. So because of this climate change, particularly rural communities, they are facing unexpected floods and frequent droughts, which make severe loss to the assets and lives, and also a lot of natural resources are getting affected. Getting back to this earlier stage, they are taking lot of time and energy they are spending. So we have to discuss and find out mechanisms to build the resilience quickly with our community. That is very important. This forum also highlighted that. Now this is the time to get all our experience, and also I invite what are the thoughts to have this session to gain our knowledges, and also to share your experience furthermore to strengthen our community on resilience. So I invite the participant to share your views based on the interactions. So for initiating this, I invite Mr. Murdaya from Gundar Basin to share his experience and views.
Good evening to all. This is a great occasion to share our experience in Ramanathapuram district throughout climate aspect. What are the activities was initiated in our Ramanathapuram? All of you know, in Ramanathapuram district is very drought-prone area. Those area people mainly depending on drinking water for surface water. There's groundwater was more salinity. For that purpose, more than around if you select 100 villages, around nearly 50% of villages depending on the Urani surface water only. For that, we can discuss with community to generate that Urani. We are planning with our people to create the more capacity, if you create that more capacity, because of the people in summer season, they are struggle to get water in 2 to 3 months period. For that, we can sit community and creating the more capacity. For that, storing more water. Those storing water is more useful for poorest of poor community. During the time of that summer period, they are struggling to purchase the water from the outside for more cost. For that, we can helping them to get the quality of water. For that, we can enable them to use that biosan filter in each family to use the quality of water aspect. We can ensure for safe drinking water. In second aspect, for agriculture, in our Ramanathapuram, around more than 1800 water bodies are available in our Orda block. For most of the water bodies, they are mostly benefited from marginal and small farmers. For that, we can sitting with the community, we make a overall awareness given to each community level to create that Vayalagam association, through in which we can promote that association. Based on that, we can each water body aspect, we make a water budgeting based on the water budgeting, we can renovate that water body, increase the capacity, and renovate the feeder channel aspect to store the water. If we did one study in 2015, 2002, 2018, in Ramanathapuram during the time period, last 3 years, 2015 to 2018, continuous drought. Before 2015, we can renovated around 178 water bodies in Ramanathapuram, whole around 5 blocks. During this last 2015 2018, last 4 years, all our renovated water bodies was during the drought itself. Drought also they get a good yield. The people was surveilled with the water because of that proper awareness given to the community to manage that drought. Based on that, also we have given a lot of water management aspect. Lot of activities and technologies are given to our community. Based on the practices, they have adapted the climate and they will survive well in even though drought and also the flood conditions. This kind of activities we can use in Ramanathapuram.
Thank you, Murugaya. And many participants they started to share their suggestion and thoughts in chat box. I request all of us, all the participants, to use the chat box to share their views. Thank you. Next, hand over. Any other virtual participants? They want to share your views.
Basically, we depend only on surface water source.
Do you? Oh yes. There is a question in chat box. Do you depend only on surface water bodies? Yes. So that is subsurface water bodies, and it was the source. It was the one of the water structure created by our ancestor. Assuming that there will be a drought and dry spell in the days to come, that was the kind of asset would have been constructed. And now we are working on the subsurface water bodies, and the community in the ephemeral river basins and then southern peninsular India also highly depending upon this one. Any raised answer there? Okay, thanks for your comments and reflexes in the chat box. We'll make a note of it. And now I would like to invite our Executive Director, Mr. MP Wasim Ali, Executive Director of DHAN Foundation, to say the concluding and way forward remarks.
It's a very wonderful opportunity to share a collective work of many communities and many of the funding agency and banker. I think it's a collective pride. I think we were really getting a kind of few glimpses of the kind of work what we were talking about it. There are two streams of thought which I like to share. The purpose of the surface water is basically it's a flood regulator and moderator. When there is a torrential rain happens, the surface water bodies is really regulates the kind of storage and its uses very, very effectively. Second function it does is, it is a drought mitigator. When there is a really stoppage of rain and there is a withdrawal of monsoon, definitely these traditional water bodies are acting like a drought mitigators. These two functions are really the climate resilience. What we are talking now, this was happening for many centuries in southern part of India, even entire part of the country. These two functions are very critical, flood moderators and drought mitigators. Secondly, these are really through community actions. Many farmers in their field, they're really looking for rain and they always regulate and they create their own endowment for regular maintenance. For each family, they send a people for this kind of processes. And we found this farm pond as a climate resilient methodology has created many families at their own land can address climate resilience. It is not only common level, at their own farm level. So thousands of farmers are now taking this farm pond activity, not only through grants, but also through large number of loans from the bank. I think we are really seeing so much kind of movement from the farming community. They also grow fishes in their farm ponds. It is not only just for irrigating the 1 or 2 irrigation during drought, but also they grow in the bunds, the kind of fruit-bearing trees. So this is mitigation response. It's one of the excellent model which we have observed. Secondly, the green river concept. How do you make surface river basins, surface water bodies to become a greening? So all the water channels in the bunds, people grow fruit-bearing trees for helping the landless people and also helping the institution created to be sustainable. This really creates a very, really excellent way of dealing this. Thirdly, the climate smart millets are all finding a place as a cropping pattern here as a climate resilience. So some of the water kind of command areas, people are now adapting after 2 or 3 crops of millets. I think including millets is a very creative and it's a climate resilient crop also. Fourthly, there are sacred grooves around these surface water bodies. These sacred grooves act as a biodiversity centers. All the species which is not there now, which is extinct, which is also really kept in the sacred grooves. Sacred grooves operate as a herbal trees are also there. It operates as a, like our archives of the traditional plant kingdom also on that. As Annette as well as Akhila and Muthu talked about, the crop insurance is a good insulation against this risk. And we are finding it large numbers in 100,000s of people are really participating in it to save the crop. It's really clear from this climate resilience is built by hundreds of people, thousands of people, a million of people in this system, and it's created great kind of impact. My second stream of thought is going to be related to the what next. So what is the way forward? How do we really take it to the large scale, not only in India, but also other countries? I think the green financing, the hybrid financing is very, very helping us to really push these climate resilient models into a large scale. I think definitely we work with Frankfurt School, where this INSU Resilience Fund really created a kind of mark in almost a few 100,000 farmers' life to make it resilient on that. So many more models are really keep coming in. Secondly, the self-growth based, I think the communities, once they really make their own initiative, they themselves are adapting neighboring water bodies and the self-growth based initiative with banking collaboration makes this model more sustainable. It is not just grant based, it is also bankable and also it's really insurable. I think that makes it, this model is a very unique for us. One more issue now cropping up in urban cities. So urban cities are using great amount of water and it acts like a dam, no? Once the water is used, how do we use the water used again, reuse it for agriculture? I think this is one of the biggest challenges in developing or developed countries, how to reuse the grey water management. I think this is, currently we are really working on it, and we also developed a few models, how this can be taken and reused for further use. Lastly, I find these different models by different institutions is a collective efforts, and this success is also very collective. It is not in isolation. It is a pattern for many of us. I think these are all possible. I would like to end my talk by saying that DHAN is guided by the core values of grassroots action, because many of these things has to be localized action is very critical. It is not a global action alone. All localized action leads to a really large scale global action. So the grassroots action for localizing the resilience is very, very important. Secondly, enabling the process by many people so that they can really take this entire resilience in their hands, farmers. So like you've seen the advisory services and also the kind of digital mode is really helping us to enable farmers themselves to address that to the resilience. The third values, the kind of collaboration. It is not going to be done alone. Collaboration as a dance value is helping a lot of partnership with many institutions, with academia, with the business people, all people, so that many of the poor can come out of poverty. So we are seeing that they are self-declaring, as Thruvi was saying, around 600,000 families they have self-declared. They have really come out of poverty through mainly a lot of water intervention and also with banking intervention. These are all the initiatives. The next value, the innovation. I think always we really need to really get into innovate on this climate resilience with the new kinds of product, new stream of things. This innovation brings all best practices out, and it always evolves over a year in all the ecosystem. This ecosystem based, context based products are evolved for a climate resilience also is one of the very, very interesting part. Our next value is the excellence. Whenever you really do any innovation, any kind of intervention, it has to be the best for the community, and also it should be a climate resilient kind of thinking. Lastly, not the least, it's a self-regulation. Whatever we do, the farming community, all the community has to be self-regulated, and they can really regulate it on the environmental concern. And if they really create a model, it can be really on its own, it can spread to the entire world. So I would like to thank the opportunity for the kind of World Water Forum also. And I would like to thank everyone here, the greater contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your way forward leads. In fact, we conceived this workshop with two learning outcomes majorly. So one on facilitating different partnership models to showcase here, and another on exchange of knowledge between the delegates. So we hope that it has been justified to a greater extent. And thank you all. And now a formal vote of thanks by Mr. Praveen, head of the water now.
So we thank first of all the organizers at the World Water Week Forum, and also our participants from the DHAN Foundation there, Ilamugil and Ayyappan sir, for coordinating this event from the World Water Week Forum. And we thank our long partner, Dhruvi Madam, Axis Bank Foundation CEO, and our well-wisher and one of our Danite also, our Madam Annette Madam, for their innovative and informative lecture about this workshop, and also how we are building the resilient insurance related products. And we thank our Akila Madam and Muthukumara Sami sir for providing insights on how we are building this agro advisory services and people mutuals to reach the poor and marginalized farmers. And we also thank our farmer Vailagam leader Dureraja sir for sharing their grassroots level opinions, and also the participants for sharing this their views in the chat box, and also the answers provided by our Danites themselves immediately responding to the chats. We thank all of you, and also for the Murugaya who have shared the community perspective. Thank you one and all. Thank you all the participants from all over the world for actively participating in the workshop. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much.